Going live. Hi, I think we're live.
Hello, everyone. Hello, accessible yoga community and tribe and friends. Good to be with you today. And you too, Jeevana, my
Yeah, hi
dear
Sherry,
friend.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. How you doing?
I am tired this morning, actually. It's just been it's been such a busy time. Um, but I just want to say how good it is to see you and to see that space right there for me because I half of why I'm doing this with you this morning is because you're my yoga therapist and you take care of me, and that's the spot where we practice together. So I miss seeing you, and I miss our time together. So anyway, thank you so much for being here today and practicing with all of us instead of just me, which is what I get to do with you sometimes.
Yeah, it's been, and for many of you that are yoga teachers, it's been such a trying time, not only getting up, um, with the technology, but not being able to touch your clients, not being able to reach out and help them, and the ways that we do as yoga teachers and yoga therapists. And so it's been heart wrenching for many reasons. What we're all going through at this time,
Yeah.
it's it's a really intense journey. And you know, in talking about self care and talking about how we're navigating what I see as rough waters, there's so many things that are happening at once. That we're dealing with, the health threat, the worry about friends and family, the loss of work, the financial strain, the not knowing
Yeah.
our world as it's been. It's a brand new landscape. And so I think with that, it's so important to connect as we do in yoga, to keep returning to the energy within us that guides us and directs us. That's been helping me a lot. But I also, I woke up with the sunrise this morning and was in deep meditation around, what to share today. And what really came was very interesting. It was, uh, can we hold this virus as a teacher? Not just as an enemy, which is what we tend to do in the world around anything that we're afraid of. We make it an enemy and we fight it. And in thinking about this, I was sitting with it. I was meeting the virus. I was seeing my fear towards it, my wanting to push it away, wanting to run away, all the different energies that are coming up. And it's so fascinating because with this we can't. We're in the soup. We're all in it together.
Yeah.
And it's really about, I think, a great opportunity in this moment to face our fears and to see it as a teacher. So for each of us, it's going to be a different teaching. Each of us, it holds a lot of lessons, I feel.
Yeah, I just want to say before we go on about that we didn't really start with the centering because we're going to do a long practice at the end. So I just want everyone to know that. I've been doing these where we do a short centering and then talk for almost an hour, but that's not what we're doing today. So I just want people to know this is going to
Yeah.
be talking for a little bit, maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so, and then you're going to guide us, which I'm so excited about.
Mm.
Um, and I I agree with you. I mean, I think that's the point of a spiritual practice is actually trying to learn from all of life and all the challenges that come. So obviously, you're ahead of us on that. I mean, you're already trying to learn from this. I think I've been thinking about it more on a political level, like more on a community building level. How it's an opportunity for us to examine the problems and to see clearly how there's been gaps in the way we care for each other and the way society cares for people. I feel like it's exposing a lot of inequity and pain and suffering that was already there. I mean, I realize, I'm very privileged just to be able to be at home during this time, to have a home. I'm just thinking like homeless people or someone who
Mm.
doesn't have, doesn't feel safe where they live. I don't know. I just feel like there's so many ways that it's clear to me that I have what I need. I have food, I have shelter, I have community support, I have healthcare. And I don't know how other people are handling this when they don't. And I also feel like I have enough money to know that I'm going to survive a month or two. That's another thing. Like it's
Yeah.
for people who don't have that kind of financial security. I think it just makes me more aware of that, and how we have failed each other in that way. But that's what I've been talking about with everyone else. So I don't. I think
And
you and
I,
I.
you
I
know,
don't.
your conversations with Amber and Claire and everyone, has just been enlightening and wonderful. And us gathering at this time, it's really what yoga teaches us: unity consciousness, coming together, that we're not separate. We're not separate from that person on the street. We're not separate from, you know, anyone in the world. We're all one. And we tend to like to stay in our own little packages. And in this separation, it is really bringing up the need to connect. And in talking about self-care, another thing I really feel is that I started to feel better when I started to focus on other. When I started to focus on how can I help? How can I show up here? And so I encourage all of you at this time to, in your own way, maybe you're an artist, a dancer, a singer, a yoga teacher, maybe you can do remote healings. Maybe you can do, breath work. There's so many things that we can share with each other. And so I just really encourage you to, for yourself, start focusing on how can I serve? Because that to me lowers all of that fear and stress, which is part of what we're overwhelmed by right now. And it
Yeah.
helps us to really come into a deeper connection with that feeling of we'll help each other through this. We're going to get through this together, not separate in our own little bunker. We need to help each other. And to come back to, what is this teaching me? What am I learning here? How can I grow with this journey that the planet is going through right now? Can I grow through, slowing down? For me, that's one of my teachings with this, is like, I just overbooked myself all the time and had wanted to give. And with this, it's taught me, okay, it's okay to have a slower rhythm and stay in balance. And now you really need to, because you need to also be watchful of your energy and your health so that you can stay well, if possible, to support others. And we don't know how this is all going to play out. It's that impermanence, the teachings of impermanence, which is so deep in our Buddhist traditions, actually in every tradition, because life is about that. It's about the fact that we all will die. When you face your death and the impermanence of everything we know, then you're more in the moment. So the other teaching I find is really being here now, being in this moment. In this moment, am I safe? Because we're always asking that question. And sometimes we're really not feeling safe. We're threatened. We're feeling that virus in our system, or we're knowing that someone's sick close to us, or, there can be many ways that that feeling of threat comes in. And it actually turns on our nervous system because we're wired to survive. And with that, I want to say that that wiring for survival, it's part of what makes us resilient. It's part of why we're sitting here, is because our ancestors, they were tough. They survived to make it possible for us to have this life. And when I have a dear friend, my best friend growing up, her parents were Holocaust survivors. And her mother is one of the most resilient people I've ever met in my life. She's amazing. And if you hear her life story, what she survived, you can't even imagine how she has come through it. So we can learn also from the survival of other grave tragedies and experiences that our people from all over the globe have gone through. And also, I think, just to understand what it means for you in this moment, this threat, this feeling of, am I safe? Am I going to survive? And perhaps it brings us a little bit more to the forefront of what really is important. A nurse friend of mine told me that in the 1918 flu that took millions of lives, one of the things that happened after is people felt terrible about how they handled it. And I don't exactly know why, but I thought that was very interesting. And I thought, what if with this opportunity, we chose to be remembered through this time, and how we held everyone with love and with connection, and reaching out and offering what we could of ourselves, rather than just being stuck in our fear. So I'm just encouraging all of us to work with that. I'm working with it. I know you're forced to work with it, really,
Yeah.
with this situation. So that's part of, I think, the self-care.
Yeah, I love that. I'm just because I think there's always this tension for me around self-care and community care, which has come up in a couple of these conversations. And actually I think it's something I've heard, I think we talked about even before this whole pandemic, that self-care isn't really what people think it is. It's not necessarily just going and doing your thing, but your spiritual practice, that is self-care. That's a place you can care for others. I wonder if you
Absolutely.
could talk about that, like still a little bit more, like why, how is it that our spiritual practice is self-care?
Well, for one thing, when we step out of this dimension and we go into those deeper levels of connection with our source, whatever you want to call it, God, Goddess, all that is, we can sense and feel that we're much more than this physical body. We're much more than what we're watching in the world. And then when we connect into that energy, there's a piece that we can connect to. And as we're holding that vibration, I think it shifts the energy of everyone around us and in the world. We can have a frequency
Hmm.
that can shift. And we've all seen it in a yoga class when you start
Yeah.
to see everybody relax. There's
Yeah.
something called entrainment, where every as
Yeah.
one person starts to relax, everybody starts to relax. Or you can be doing a hands-on adjustment or a hands-on assist with someone, or just smoothing their forehead, and you notice the person next to them is also responding as if you're touching them. And that's entrainment. And that's part of this idea of how we're all connected, that there's no separation. So I've seen this a lot this week where I think of a friend and they text me. I'm
Hmm.
thinking of somebody, are they okay? And I hear from them. And we all know that. We've had those experiences. So if you really get that there's no separation, you come into the well of vibrational energy, and you work with that energy in the ways that you can in your own being. You are putting a vibration out. I
Hmm.
think music does that. Today Avahar is going to
Yeah.
be playing, you know, but spiritually also, each of us has perhaps those teachings that imbibe with us, those teachings that connect us to our heart. And I think the heart is the great seed and seat of much of our connection to the vibration of the source of life, creator, whatever it is that you call it. And so to connect in, and one of the things that's been really painful, I'm a big hugger. And I am so longing to hug people and to reach out and pull our hearts together. And the other day, I wrapped my arms around myself and realized, part of it is that when I'm connected with somebody, I'm reaching my heart energy out to touch their heart energy. But I realize we can do that in other ways. And in the private sessions I've been doing, I've been sending it to people as if I was right there with them, doing a sort of remote energy touch. And also for people that are sick, where we need to pull back and hold them. Don't just leave them, you
Hmm.
know. And I learned this so deeply with my mom when she had Alzheimer's. There was a tendency when she would not be present or couldn't speak to disconnect. But I was taught by Ram Dass, actually, who said to me, after I was had a lovely meeting with him and Laura Huxley, and he said, after his stroke, there'll be moments where I can't speak, but don't disconnect from me.
Hmm.
Stay with me. And so there would be these silent moments where we stayed with him and we didn't let him go. And he felt that. And I think that we need to do that with those folks that are in the hospital, that are sick, that are afraid. We need to reach our energy out in humanity and reach out and hold as much as we can. And then connecting, thank goodness for technology. Last night we were on a call with Victor's sister and sisters and family, and in Mexico, Seattle, and all over. And to just be able to see everybody's face, to
Hmm.
see and check in that way is really helpful. So
I, I
everyone,
I love what you're saying, because I think that this whole idea of like isolation and quarantine, it's really making that all so much clearer,
Yeah,
that we're physically separated, but we may not be really separated.
that's
You know?
right. That's right. Yeah. So coming back to one of the deepest, most beautiful teachings of yoga is the unity, knowing that there's no separation, that
Yeah.
we're truly one. And then all those other aspects, action, taking, taking a stand, taking a step, helping in the ways that you can, and think about that for yourself. And it doesn't matter if you're 10 or older. There might be an idea that comes to you. Oh, I want to do that. I want to put flowers on my friend's doorstep, or I want to, whatever you can do at this time to grow the love, because love is really what's so healing. And to me, love is part of that incredible light of creation.
Mm. But it seems like you're also saying we can do it in our own practice, just,
Yes.
I shouldn't say just, but by working on our own heart and expanding our awareness of each other, thinking of others, sending them love, keeping people in our thoughts and prayers. That's a practice. I
Absolutely.
remember I have a friend who um, has MS, and she was struggling with the question of how to be of service to other people. This was many years ago, because she was having trouble getting out into the world and participating in a way. She was already having an experience that many of us are having or all of us are having right now, really, of separation, except for those on the front lines, I should say. Of course, I acknowledge them and people who are still serving and working and not isolating. Um, anyway, she was teaching me that even though she was alone at home most of her time, she was still able to practice by praying for people, thinking of them in her meditation, sending them love. Like, those are things that you can do even if you're alone, right?
Yes, that's right. And I recommend, and we'll do this in the practice today, but taking time to, as if you were embracing yourself, tapping yourself, which is very soothing for the nervous system. And there's wonderful teachers in tapping. Lori Layden is one of them. You can look at her videos. And but tapping helps to, it's activating meridians, but it's also activating the right and left side of the brain. And this cross, what I find about the cross is it's like a protection across the heart too, the bones of the arms, and then tapping one shoulder and then the other, taking some deep breaths. And this can also be helpful with an affirmation. I am safe in this moment. Maybe that's all that's true for you. Or it can be, even though I'm really frightened, I know that I will get through this, or I'm strong, I'm resilient. Whatever it is, I'm courageous. And notice, just as you do this, it's so simple, and you can teach this to your children and your elders, how with some deep breaths, how calming it is. And just those things that self-soothe can be really helpful. Hand on the forehead, hand on the back of the head. This is a great self-soothing, it's like a mudra. And when you touch yourself and you feel your body, that also can be a very powerful, calm with that breath. So I could see it on your face. So with self-care, there's so much that we can do. I want to also talk about some of the ways that we can trip ourselves up. And one is, when we're in high alert, as we are right now, there's a tendency to feel that you have to know everything right now. So being hooked into the news or information through the World Wide Web. And I think it's important to take breaks and do things that give you the opposite of what happens when we're listening to the news. And it's important to stay informed, but we're also needing to take as much as feels right for our nervous system. And I had a day where my husband came up to me in Avahar and said, can I just reflect something to you? He often asks permission, which is nice. And he said,
My husband
you're
doesn't do that.
And he said, you're really hooked into to everything right now. And, how are you feeling? I was not feeling good.
Yeah.
And he reflected that to me because I was stuck in it. I couldn't see it myself.
Yeah.
So also to do that for each other, to say,
Yeah.
let's put our phones down, everybody, and let's take a moment to just stand up and put some music on and
Yeah.
shake it
Yeah.
out.
I mean, Matt and I did that, but more as a fight. Because it was like I was getting ready for go to bed and I was just like not wanting to look at the news anymore. Like I just needed a little space before
Yeah.
sleep to get
Yeah.
my mind to relax. And he started reading some local news about probably listening right now about the update on what's just happened. It's like, I've been reading the news all day. Like I didn't really need that just before bed. There was really it wasn't helpful for me personally at that moment. And so I asked him to stop, and then he said, well, he needed to share. So I was like, that's an interesting dynamic in our relationship. But sometimes, I think we're all dealing with that right now too. A lot of time with our intimate family, unless we live alone, and then you got a lot of time just with yourself, I guess. But it's interesting to notice that the way I need to care for myself within relationship, the relationship I have with him and my family. So
Yeah.
it's not always easy. Yeah.
Yeah, not always easy. And sometimes what helps, I find, is to check in with yourself because we're all riding this wave and sometimes you're just in it. And so if you stop and you put your hands on your body and you say, how am I doing right now? And you ask what you need. It's a practice I call me time. And you put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and you close your eyes if you're comfortable closing your eyes. Would it be okay if I just guided everybody in this for a moment?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And then we'll transition maybe to some practice, or you can sit in the chair for the meditation if you like. So putting one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, just below the navel, and just notice what hand feels comfortable, where it feels comfortable. So take a moment to get yourself feeling good in the position. And taking your focus inside, feeling the part of your body that's being touched, noticing your breath. And as you feel inside your body in this moment, you're going to ask yourself a question, just as you would ask a friend. Let's say you were talking to a friend and you would say, how are you? And you'd really listen to what they said. Ask yourself now that question, how are you? And listen for however the body and being, however it responds. And there may be images that arise, there may be emotions. You may become aware of how the body is doing, how it's feeling. Just meeting it, turning towards whatever you're sensing, feeling. And now ask yourself, ask your body, what do you need? How can I support you in these uncertain times? What do you need? And as you complete the me time practice, the final step is to, as well as you can, meet what the body communicated to you. So it might be something simple like, I need more water. It might be more challenging. Um, but to try to meet that need the best that you can so your body really feels listened to. And then just take a moment to thank your body and to let it know that you're going to be connecting with it more in this way throughout this time, to really stay tuned in for how to help it. And each of you has things that your body loves and responds to. And so letting the body speak to what the self-care that would be best, that it would appreciate. One thing I want to mention, I've been teaching this for a long time at the Cancer Center in Santa Barbara, and sometimes it takes a little while, especially if you've been really focused on outside or surviving. It takes relaxing enough. Sometimes I tell people, do it before you go to bed so you can just be lying down, take some deep breaths, relax a little bit, and then tune in. And that can be really helpful to be a little more relaxed. But to make time for it every day and even put a reminder on your phone, maybe a time when you know nobody's going to need you, and just says me time, it comes up as a reminder, and then you're able to give yourself that practice. So if it's okay now, I think maybe
Yeah.
let's do some yoga.
Yeah, so that's what my body was saying, was that it needed to be led in a practice by you,
Oh,
since you take care of me so well. And
well, thanks for inviting me today to be here and to be with everyone. I can feel you all, and it's an incredible gift to connect in this way. And just, yeah, I'm thinking about you all so much. So
so I'm gonna
can I,
minimize my video and expand yours here. Let's see if that works. Yeah. And I'm actually going to practice on my mat.
okay.
I don't know if you can
First
see it
off,
actually right there.
thanks for practicing with us. That's great, Jivana.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to mention that some of you may be in a chair. You may want to stay in your chair or need to be in your chair. Some of you might be able to take us with you and go lie down on a bed. You want to get horizontal for this. Basically, I'm going to also offer a couple of choices restoratively. One I wanted to show actually in a chair. I don't really have a chair right here, but I'm going to use just this what is it? It's a poof of sorts.
Okay.
So I'm going to show over here. Let's say you could sit against the wall and bring a blanket with you. Another choice for just a gentle supported heart opener, which is what we're going to be doing restoratively today, is to make a roll with a blanket and slide it down your spine and then lean against it. So this can be nice if you don't have space to do a heart opening practice per se. You can also explore just stretching and opening the chest muscles, the breathing muscles, also working with the lung, heart, lung, pericardium acupuncture point lines. And then the other choice would be to take just a little bit of a roll, and if you're in a chair, just put it right at uh, the bottom of the scapula. So if you palpate your scapula, you can feel where your scapula is. For women, it's around the bra strap line. Then you could do this instead. You could do just a nice little heart opening. We want to offer a heart opening to connect with our hearts, but also to open up some of those muscles that I find from doing this too much. So many of us are more time than ever at the computer. Now, if you do have a yoga space and you have some props here that you can work with, I'm going to show you another option. So you can take a couple of blankets or one blanket. So one will be gentler, and you can take your blanket and fold it this way. If you have these kinds of yoga blankets, that's great. If you don't, just use whatever you've got. If you've got a regular blanket, you'll want to fold it up because we do want a little bit of an edge. You're going to put that blanket down, and maybe that would be plenty for you, especially if you find that you're quite tight in your upper thoracic, your upper back, or your kidney area is really tight right now. You might need to keep it on the low side. or you can add another blanket to the top. And that's going to make it a little bit stronger of an heart opening pose. So basically, what you'll do is you'll sit on this, and I'm going to guide you in just a moment, and your bolster is going to go beneath your knees. If you have extra blankets, you could add an extra blanket on top. You could add one flat where your head will go, and then I like to put a small roll to support the cervical curve and open up the neck. Also, if you have an eye pillow, put your eye pillow where your head will be, and then you're welcome to put it on. If you don't have any of these things, that's okay. Just if you like, you can lay down. You could put your legs up. Another thing that I've been teaching that I'll just show real quick while some of you are getting the other things ready is a wall-free waterfall pose. So you can also come back during the day and put a little extra blanket around your feet and make a hammock for your feet. So this can be a nice thing to do for 5 minutes, but probably not the best thing to do during our meditation because you won't be able to hold it and relax. But I wanted to show that to you because we don't always have walls to be able to do waterfall. And if you have unmedicated high blood pressure, you're feeling your blood pressure is high, you would probably let that pose go, or detached retina, glaucoma. But it is a good supportive pose for the lymph system, bringing blood flow to the heart, quieting the mind, and also for immune support. So once you have your blankets in place, I hope my timing's good with you all at home. You're going to sit. You're going to sit on your blankets, your double blankets, and scoot forward a little bit. And then you can use your hands to come back, or you can use your arms if you like. Forward, use your abdominal muscles as you roll back. And when you come back, you might need to scoot. Now, the ideal place for the top edge of the blanket is just beneath the bottom edge of your scapula. So you want to feel where that is. For women, again, it's the bra strap line. So it goes right there. So it holds the rib cage up. So like a waterfall, or this is called gentle mountain brook. Mountain brook opens the heart. So you can see as you take your arms out, or you're welcome to rest your hands on your body, you're able to get a little more of an opening as you straighten the legs through the front of the body, these areas that get tight when we sit, the crease at the hip where there's also a lot of lymph tissue, so opening that up. And then again, if you find that you come into this pose or any pose and it's not really feeling right for you, adjust until it does. So for me, I'm going to just put a little roll under the neck because that feels better on my neck. But if it feels better to have a pillow or a higher blanket, if your head is tilting back, then it means that you need more support to make your throat soft and your neck comfortable. And then if your low back is feeling achy and it's too strong for you, you can always bend the knees and come into kind of a constructive rest pose here. The knees resting, the toes slightly turned in. And then I'm going to, in just a moment, just take a moment to make sure everybody has everything they need. And then I'm going to sit up. I'm going to call Avahar to come in, and he's going to play some live music. So another thing is in meditation of any kind, shavasana, guided meditation, or seated meditation, there's sometimes we do cool down as the body relaxes, and then it can focus on mending and healing and moving into balance. If we get cold, it has to focus on trying to warm us. So I also recommend adding another blanket over you at this point in time. So if you have an extra blanket, I would recommend that. And then taking your eye pillow and placing it over your eyes and getting yourself cozy and ready. Maybe some of you at home have a little aromatherapy. You want to put that on your hands and breathe it in and just start to move into a receptive space for your meditation. And Avahara, welcome. So glad you could be here today. Avahara, everyone. And for those of you that have studied with me, you might have met him. There's, oh, your doggy's barking.
I know, I'm gonna mute myself.
So those of you that have studied with me, Avahara has played for a lot of the therapeutic yoga trainings over the years, and our workshops here in Santa Barbara, he joins me and plays live for those. So we're really missing being with our people and communities all over the world. And so we're sending our love through this meditation and musical offering. So wherever you are, take a moment to check in with your body and make sure it feels just right and receptive. We've entered into springtime. And while it might not feel like spring yet, we can begin to open and be receptive as the flowers are to the light, to connect to the source of light within us and around us. So if it's comfortable to close your eyes, feel free to close your eyes. Take your focus, your awareness inside. Invite your breath to gently deepen. And with each inhalation, breathing in peace, breathing in relaxation. And as the breath flows out, feel tension, stress, carried away on the breath. And with each breath, feel the weight of your body sinking down into the support beneath you, growing heavy, warm, and relaxed with each breath. And invoking your imagination, visualize now a beautiful bright light flowing from above, streaming gently into your heart. Like a flower, feel your body open and receptive, receiving the vital, pure energy from above. Notice the vibration of this light, the quality of the energy, what it holds for you, the gifts. And as it fills the chambers of your heart and washes softly through and around your heart center, you feel it clearing away any pain, any fear or grief. The light transforms everything it touches. Bringing radiance within. With each beat of your heart, you feel your strength, your courage, the love light in your heart expanding. With each beat of your heart, this vital energy flows freely through you, now flowing to the places in your body that feel tight or tired. Any areas where stress is accumulated, feel this bright, vital energy streaming in and massaging away the tension, clearing the stress. Feel the breeze of your breath stoking the energy, and feel it growing brighter and stronger with each breath. Feel the bright light now washing over you and through you, calming and soothing everything it touches. You feel the sensation of the light reaching all the way to the tips of your fingers and the soles of your feet. Notice the tingling sensation of the light in your hands. And feel the light now flowing even deeper into your organs, enhancing vital energy. Your organs floating in light, absorbing this energy into the very cells of your body, supporting your deepest health and wellness. Feel the cocoon of light growing around you. Within this light, you feel safe, warm, and protected, held in a high vibration of healing energy. this point of light, radiant and bright in your heart center. And from Anahata, from the heart chakra, sending your love vibration out to all humanity, to every human being. Every race, every religion, every gender, every being on this planet, receiving the love light of your heart, the wish for wellness, for peace, and tranquility. And take a few moments to let this vibration from your heart reach out far and wide, surrounding the whole planet in loving light. And bringing your hands now to your own heart, and just honoring the courage it takes to be alive at this time in history. And bowing in essence to your own heart and the unique vibration that is you. You can begin now to return your focus back with each breath, noticing the feeling in your body, your heart. And as you begin to journey back more fully with each breath, you can softly open your eyes. If you've been lying on your back, you can roll onto your side. And if you like, you can come back to the tapping of the shoulders and giving yourself a loving embrace as you rest on your side. And then as you feel ready, you can make your way up slowly if you've been resting on your side, and you'll come back to a seated position. And Jivana, you can come back to join us if you'd like. And as we close with 3 ohms, I invite you to send the Ohm energy out into the world and also into your own body temple, into your heart, into your body. So we're going to do the integral yoga ohms. And Jivana, are you on? Is your volume on?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. So sending that sacred vibration of the Om to the planet. And rather than making the virus an enemy, I'd like to send the Om energy to the virus as well. The vibration of healing, of connection, of love, and to hold everything that we're experiencing, everything in the light. Honoring the light, the divine within you. Namaste. And namaskar, which means I honor the light in you, which is also me, that makes us one.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. I could have gone on a lot longer.
Good. Well, feel free to lay back down and go back into your meditation.
Yeah, I just want to thank you so much, both of you. That was really awesome. And I know that people can find more of your practices online. Is that true? Do you have, can you tell
Yes.
us?
Thanks for remembering that. Yeah, I am one of the teachers, featured teachers on Yoga Anytime. So if you go to their website and you type in CHERI, my first name or my last name, one or the other, in capital letters, you'll get 30 days free and you can just try it. It's an online forum. I teach therapeutic yoga for stress reduction, immune health, anxiety, grief, and also I do a women's health show too. So I'd love for you to join me there. It would be great to have you there. And Avahar too has a couple of albums on Spotify and iTunes, Angels in the Atmosphere and Slow Wave Journey. And he's been in the studio working on a new album. So,
And now
so
there's time.
some good things will come from this time. Yeah.
Great,
Thank you
thank you.
so much, Jivana. And Jivana, you have been such a leader in connecting us all and continuing the conversation. And it's been really wonderful to tune into all the goodness that you're sharing through this time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you being here today and practicing with us. Thank you both. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Mhm.